Moments of stillness where we're not doing, fixing, or achieving anything. We're just being. Because at the end of the day, no one will stand at our funeral and say, "She was amazing. She answered emails at 11 p.m. and never took a break." They'll talk about the moments we were with them, the way we laughed, the way we made them feel. So maybe it's time we stop treating exhaustion like a status symbol. Maybe it's time we start measuring our days, not by how much we did, but by how present we were, because a full life isn't the same as a busy one. And the best things, they happen in the pauses. Second, emotional avoidance is expensive. The things we push down don't disappear. They just show up in places we don't expect. Unprocessed grief becomes irritability. Buried shame becomes perfectionism. Suppressed fear becomes control. The research is clear: avoiding hard emotions doesn't make us stronger. It makes us numb. And a numb life is not a full life. Most of us were taught in one way or another that some emotions are acceptable and others should be avoided at all costs. Be happy, be grateful, be strong, but don't be angry, don't be sad, and definitely don't be vulnerable. Somewhere along the way, we learned that negative emotions make us weak. And that feeling too much is dangerous. And that if we just keep moving, keep pushing, keep ignoring the hard stuff, it'll go away. But it doesn't. Our emotions are like unpaid debts. They don't disappear just because we pretend they're not there. They collect interest. They grow in the dark, and eventually they demand to be paid. There's a study that looked at the effects of emotional suppression when we actively try to push down feelings like sadness, anxiety, or fear. The results: people who suppress their emotions don't just experience higher stress levels. They also have weaker immune systems, lower relationship satisfaction, and a higher likelihood of developing chronic illness. Because emotions are not just psychological, they live in the body. And when we don't process them, they don't just go away, they manifest in other ways. Like that moment when someone cuts you off in traffic and suddenly you're furious. Not just annoyed, full-body white-hot rage. And it doesn't make sense. But if you trace it back, you realize it's not just about traffic. It's about every moment that week when you felt powerless. It's about the meeting where you swallowed your frustration. It's about the fight with your partner that you pretended didn't hurt. Or maybe it shows up as perfectionism. You convince yourself you have to be the best at everything. You have to be polished, accomplished, untouchable. Because if you slow down, if you allow yourself to feel the things you've been running from, what happens? Maybe you realize you're terrified of failing. Maybe you realize you don't feel good enough, and so we keep performing. We keep controlling. We keep avoiding because facing the truth feels too big, too overwhelming. But here's what I've learned. Emotions don't destroy us. The fear of feeling them does. We have this idea that if we open the door to our real feelings, they'll flood in and drown us. But emotions don't work that way. They come in waves, and when we allow ourselves to actually feel them, when we name them, sit with them, process them, they pass. They lose their power. I remember a moment years ago when I was feeling completely overwhelmed, like everything in my life was too much, like I was failing at everything that mattered. My instinct was to push through, to keep going, to not feel it. But instead, I sat down and wrote out exactly what I was feeling. And what shocked me wasn't how big the emotions were. It was how quickly they softened the moment I acknowledged them. Because emotions just want to be heard. So what do we do with this? How do we start actually processing our emotions instead of running from them? We name them. And it looks like defining success for ourselves, not by someone else's standards, not by society's expectations, but by what actually makes us feel alive. Because success is not a finish line. It's not a checklist. It's not something we finally arrive at. It's in the way we live, the way we show up, the way we stay present for the things that actually matter. And if we miss that, we miss everything. Fifth, time is not a renewable resource. We act like we have forever, like we can put off the things that matter, our dreams, our relationships, our joy, until some mythical later. When life is less chaotic, when we feel more ready, when everything is perfectly in place. But later is not a guarantee. And the truth we learn too late is that the things we keep postponing, they're the things that make life worth living. I once heard someone say, the trouble is you think you have time. And doesn't that hit hard? Because we do. We live like there will always be another chance to say I love you. To start the thing we've been too scared to start. To take the trip, to have the hard conversation, to show up for the people we care about, until one day we realize that the chances have run out. I've spent years studying vulnerability, connection, and courage. And if there's one theme that comes up again and again, it's regret. Not over the things people did, but the things they didn't do. The words left unsaid, the dreams left unexplored, the relationships that slipped away because no one made the first move. There is research on this because, of course, there is. Studies show that at the end of life, people don't regret the failures nearly as much as they regret the opportunities they never took, the risks they never said yes to. The times they played small, played safe, convinced themselves they had more time. I've seen this up close. A few years ago, a friend of mine lost someone suddenly. No warning, no time to prepare, just gone. And as we sat together in the days that followed, what haunted her wasn't the big dramatic moments. It was the small ones. The time she didn't pick up the phone, the time she assumed there'd be another dinner, another weekend, another chance. And I think about that all the time, about how easy it is to move through life, assuming we'll get around to the things that really matter. One day I'll take that trip. One day I'll finally start writing that book. One day I'll reach out and fix that friendship. But what if one day never comes? What if we stopped acting like time was infinite? What if we treated it like the precious non-renewable resource that it is? Because the reality is we're spending it no matter what. The question is, are we spending it on the things that actually matter? It's easy to get caught in the trap of waiting. Waiting until we feel ready, waiting for the fear to go away. But readiness is a myth, and fear is just proof that something matters. The people who live the fullest lives aren't the ones who waited for fear to disappear. They're the ones who move forward in spite of it. So what does that look like in real life? It looks like making the call, sending the text, taking the risk. It looks like putting ourselves in the arena knowing we might fail, but deciding that the worst failure would be never trying at all. It looks like choosing joy now. Not when we've earned it, not when everything is perfect. Now, because the small ordinary moments, the laughter over dinner, the sun on our face, the quiet conversations with people we love, those are the things we'll wish we had more of. And it looks like living in a way that if tomorrow wasn't promised, we'd still be proud of today. Because in the end, we don't get more time. We just get this one wild, messy, beautiful life. And the only thing worse than running out of it is realizing we never truly lived it. So here we are. 5 lessons people learn too late. 5 truths that if we really let them in can change the way we live now, not someday.